0-0 Stanford with the lead, taking advantage of turnovers and poor shooting by San Diego. You look at the brackets in the South. Connecticut already a winner today over BYU. The winner of this game will advance into Saturday's second round against the Huskies. Mike Montgomery, 17 years. Insiders will tell you he's one of the best in the business, and for a period of time, anytime there was a job opening, his name was brought up. I think now he's really settled into the idea of being the Stanford head coach.
And they have a unique situation at Stanford with their jobs. Unlike many places, the coach will get tenure after this year. That's a very interesting proposition for him.
Full retirement and school for all of his children at that point, and
high motivation to stay in Palo Alto.
Jason Keep finally gets the Toreros on the board. It's 9-2. And you may be asking, just what is a torero? It's a bullfighter.
A bullfighter?
Yes.
Oh, that's no bull right there.
Over the Matador defense. My goodness.
Stanford really looking good in this game. Clicking, playing solid defense. A push off right there by Morris.
That's 2 on him. 2 early fouls against Roy Morris.
The lob pass, the elevation, and the finish. Coordinated effort between Little and Childress.
This is the first time I've seen Josh Childress in person. I've seen many of his games, obviously, during the course of the regular season, but like those of you at home via the television, he really visually, if you look at his face, that foul on Justin Davis, if you just took a shot of Josh Childress, you'd say he looks a little like Keith Wilkes, and his game is just as smooth.
And his hair is about 70s also.
Yeah, that's right. He's a throwback. Oh, for the days of White Shadow and George Gervin playing basketball.
The Iceman. Although Childress plays a lot better defense. Very strong defensive player. He uses his length to his advantage. So far, the Toreros struggling at the offensive end because of Stanford's pressure.
5 turnovers already committed by San Diego. Some nerves for this team debuting in the NCAAs. This is a completely different stage for this team, but you see the three-pointer taken and dropped by Matt Loddick. The junior from Illinois who struggled mightily to get to this level of play. 6 out of 9 shooting for Stanford. Belzer with a dump down to Keep. In traffic, Keep loses it. Knocked away by Barnes.
They are doing a good job of crowding Keep. Not much room to operate.
Rebound by Corey Belzer. Outlet to Morris. Stanford really getting back defensively.
Keep your eyes focused inside on Blair and Keep. They are the chief weapons. One averaging 18, one averaging 17. They want to go inside.
That's another walk. And again, you may have a bump here or there, but I detect nerves for the Toreros early on.
No doubt about it. Deep shooting by Stanford.
A lot of Stanford has been dominant in this game, Bob Wenzel, and I still believe San Diego is trying to get the kinks out of the armor. They just don't appear real satisfied with where they are in this stage.
Well, what happens is Stanford is crowding Keep on the inside, and that's really taken a lot out of them. Keep is their main inside threat. So San Diego without a rudder right now.
Morris, who's playing with 2 fouls already, gets bumped. Grunfeld may have gotten him.
Well, Morris is a guy who can put the ball on the floor and score on his own. And that's what they need right now because Keep is not getting a lot of touches. He's on the bench right now. Nick Lewis in place of Keep, also 6'10", from Phoenix, Arizona. Nice player. But this guy right here, Morris, could put it on the floor and create some. That's what he needs to do when they're behind.
Look at the San Diego profile. This is University of, and it's a Catholic institution. Enrollment of just better than 7,000, and this is the 3rd tournament appearance, but for this group, after the 9 years with Brad Holland, their first opportunity, and this has been a long time and a long wait for them. Playing in a conference with a Gonzaga makes it tough.
And it's normally a 1-bid conference. This year, 2 from the West Coast Conference.
San Diego won the conference tournament on their home floor. Oh, the iron tantalizingly unkind to Childress. Gonzaga, by the way, was a winner earlier today, beating Cincinnati in the NCAA tournament. Lewis, too strong. Childress clears. Barnes a pull-up. This is the part of watching a Stanford team coached by Mike Montgomery that is so...
It's hard to put your finger on them, Tim, because they will come down and shoot early in transition like that, and then they will work the ball inside. They're quicker than you think. They're deceptively quick. And right now they're playing solid defense. As you mentioned, 7th out of 10 pick in the Pac-10 earlier in the year. Beat Arizona on Arizona's home floor, the only team in the country to do that this year. So they had winning tradition under Mike Montgomery.
Dalzell with his first bucket. A 12-point lead for the Cardinal. I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Mike Montgomery, because most coaches do what they do all the time. And he's really playing now his game, coaching his game to the level of talent he has. And Loddick now is 7 points in the game. Lewis, every shot is really altered by Stanford, and you can see that San Diego is rushing their shots.
Well, Barnes and Loddick in the backcourt is really a dynamite backcourt scoring-wise, and Childress is a terrific passer, assist guy as the small forward. And Stanford very solid at this end.
Mike McGreen has come into the game. A little high-low game to Blair. The Jasons have still been unable to scratch. Either Keep, who managed one bucket, or Blair, who in traffic has had a lot of difficulty. Now Jason Keep will come back into the game. Lewis and Morris check out.
Well, Dalzell, the guy who's going to initiate the out-of-bounds play here, is the chief passer. His job normally to get the ball inside to either of the two Jasons. Neither of them coming up strong right now.
Blair doesn't get the shooter's touch. Keep hacked underneath.
Well, he is strong around the basket. Weighs 280 right now. Was over 300. Went on a diet and lost some weight. Actually, a very good student also. Very impressive player. Earlier in the year, 30 points, 16 rebounds at Pauley Pavilion against UCLA. Before UCLA fell upon all its bad times, they were ranked 14th in the country at the time.
Jason Keep is one of those finds from a transfer standpoint, and this is not an easy school to be enrolled in, and you see what he's been able to accomplish on the floor. Second in the West Coast Conference in scoring.
Well, big numbers for him, both scoring and rebounding. First team all West Coast Conference, as is Jason Blair. 2 players from this squad on the first team all league.
Early in the year, his work ethic was questioned by Holland, and he was suspended for conduct that would not be taken by a Torero. And after that conversation, Keep got his act together, and Julius Barnes has his going from downtown.
Well, he's the leading scorer for this Stanford team. They're balanced. He and Childress 15 and 14.
Keep immediately double teamed. Harry S. has come into the game, number 52 in white. Stanford 4 of 7 from downtown, make that 5 of 8. Barnes is just lighting it up, and the lead all the way up to 19.
Great focus on the part of Stanford in this game. Mike Montgomery's got his team ready to play. Solid at this end, causing havoc for the Toreros. Giving them nothing easy. That's the first easy play they've had the entire day. And rushing the ball up the floor, intensity personified by Mike Montgomery. They are a 4 seed, as you mentioned, 23 and 8 on the season. Mike is not a fan of conference tournaments, and they lost in the first round of the Pac-10.
Grunfeld not there. Pulled down by Blair, and Ted Valentine spots a foul.
You know, a lot of times, Tim, the teams that are highly rated in the country losing in the first or second round of their conference tournament is not a big deal to them. Actually, sometimes I think it helps. It gets them a little bit of rest.
Arizona, as you know, a team that didn't particularly care for it. Lute Olson was bounced by UCLA in the opening round. They were a 29-point winner today, but the truth of the matter is, I mean, I think it depends on the circumstances. If you're a team on the bubble, you need the tournament.
Oh, no
you want it.
about that.
I think we've seen examples in the Pac-10 and the Big Ten where teams got in because of first-round wins in their postseason conference tournaments. But if you're Stanford or Arizona, and
Stanford
you're
were second in the league. Stanford was second in the league, so they were in no matter what happened in the NCAA tournament.
I think your perspective changes based on the one-loss column.
I think the athletic director's perspective changes based on the dollar signs.
Exactly, the cash register. And I think the one and out aspect for a lot of young teams really helps mentally prepare you that this week you lose, you're on the bus. Next week, if you lose, you're on the bus for good.
Yeah, well, I think that loss maybe helped their focus.
Barnes, oh, not this time, but he has no conscience now. Delzell leaving it for Blair. Nice drive to the hoop. Strong move by Jason Blair.
Little up and under right there. Kirchhoffer not moving his feet, not used to guarding a guy away from the basket. Two substitutes in the post positions right now for Stanford. Zone defense on the part of San Diego. They do not use this very often.
Shot clock winding down. Barnes off the bounce. Keith gets the rebound for San Diego.
Time for San Diego to make a run right now. Only perimeter shooting in the game right now for Stanford. No inside guys.
That's an easy push-off on Kirchhoffer. Junior from Elk Grove, California. Played at Laguna Creek High School.
He is a hustling type post player. Both Little and Davis on the bench for Mike Montgomery. So inside scoring not available. Childress finally coming back into the game right here. Stanford has relied on their last several possessions on outside shooting, and they have not scored from there.
Nick Robinson has also come back into the game, replacing Matt Harries.
Well, Jason Keep, look at his big numbers right here. 62% from the field for the year and 9 rebounds per game. Extremely impressive. And he's strong and athletic and cut. He's the kind of guy who can wear people down, Tim, as the game goes on. In pretty good shape right now. Even though he didn't get off to a good start, he's got decent numbers right now.
Until Blair hit a couple of shots, San Diego's front court woes were very obvious. They were 4 out of 16 from the floor. Now they're on an 8-0 run and have cut the lead to 11. Stanford leading by 7 here in Spokane, the first round of the NCAA tournament. Saturday, first round coverage of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship will tip off on ESPN and ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's just a couple of examples of what you'll be seeing throughout the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship.
San Diego's change of defense has helped a great deal. First zone, now a half-court trap. It's thrown Stanford off.
Childress was on the inline, so wave it off. Comes up gingerly. That's the 9th turnover committed by Stanford.
The perimeter guys are doing all the scoring for Stanford right now. Barnes has 13, Loddick has 9, Childress has 9. The rest of the team only 4. So the post guys not very much involved at the offensive end of the floor for Cardinal.
Well, Kirchhoffer's now back on the floor for Stanford in the interior along with Robinson. That's a very small Stanford lineup.
Well, Davis and Little, the two chief inside players, both on the bench with fouls.
Yet another turnover by the Toreros. Tell you, this Stanford team is perpetual motion. They don't waste any time getting the ball up the floor. They may have a sleight of size, but their quickness is surprising and sterling, really, when you consider the history of their program. Childress, what a quick release. Not this time. Pulled down by Keep. 6 rebounds for Jason Keep.
Well, opportunity really is available right now for San Diego. Stanford very much out of offensive rhythm, not getting good quality shots at the moment. They've got a 7-point lead, but this is the time where they can get it in to Keep.
Boy, he knows it. He's a little frustrated, too. He wanted Belzer to give him the ball. Now he finally gets it. But he's not at the spot on the floor where he wants to be.
Shot clock.
That's where he wants it, right there. And a forced shot by Morris. A very poor offensive sequence for San Diego.
They had an opportunity to get the ball to Keep early in the possession, and they didn't, and didn't have an opportunity afterward.
Kirchhoffer turns around, ugly shot. Check the backboard for a dent. knocked away. Deflected by Stanford. Be controlled to San Diego.
A little smile by Morris. Brad Holland's guy thought he threw it out of bounds. Blair back in for Lewis. Those three guys, Blair, Keep, and Lewis, are the inside rotation for the Toreros, and a mighty good one. As you mentioned, beat Gonzaga in the final of the West Coast Conference Championship at their gym at San Diego.
The kind of win that also gets the community behind the school, and we talked a great deal about that with Brad Holland yesterday. Coming up on Singular at the half, Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg will get you caught up on all of today's scores and highlights. All coming up on Singular at the half. And we've had some narrow escapes for a number of high seeds today. Marquette, great matchup today in the 8-9 game between North Carolina State and California.
Those 8-9 games are really tough games. I played in one of those one time. I was coaching at Rutgers, and Arizona State beat us late on a three-point shot. And those kind of games tear your heart out. I'm glad we lost because we would have had to play Arkansas in the second game.
Yeah, that's the thing about the 8-9 game.
Beat us by 50.
You know, I've had a lot of coaches through the years, Bob, tell me that they would really prefer being a 10 or an 11 seed as an at-large coming out of a power conference. So you're spent after you play an 8-9 game, and then you get a number one seed.
Number one. Yeah, that's the problem with that deal.
35-30 as Blair hits both.
Jason Haas at point guard right now, Tim. Played a great game against Cal in the regular season at Stanford. Was not thought to be a guy who was going to play a great deal, but composes himself very well. Stanford holding tight with their two post players on the bench with fouls. There's a D by Belzer.
A pick. Blair, by the way, has been a real factor. That's going to be a push on Haas against Dalzell. First foul against Jason, the freshman from Pennsylvania. I was going to mention Blair. 11 of his 13 points for Jason Blair have come in the last 3.5 minutes.
I'll tell you, he was cold early. He made 2 plays to the basket, didn't get anything, and then since that time, you know, he's versatile, Tim. He goes outside, he's made a 3, he puts the ball on the floor and drives by big people, and then he can post up. So he's a tough guard for most teams. It's hard to guard him with a power forward.
Here's our tournament summary. Look at the average margin of victory for number 1 seeds. Huge early on.
What you would expect.
Yeah, Holy Cross again. Very much in it as they were to Kentucky, you recall.
And Kansas the year before.
And Marquette takes them out this year. Of course, the Golden Eagles happy to get past round 1.
Pac-10 2-0 so far. Stanford would like to make that 3-0.
Hey, this is as close as this game has been since it was 3-0 to open the game.
It's nice to see. You know, you get many blowouts, even with 4-13 seeds. Both of these teams from California, they know each other well. Players know each other well. Not too much of an intimidation factor because of the Pac-10 against the West Coast Conference.
Yeah, a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, perhaps, of the West Coast Conference against the Pac-10. Playing a little for your league as well as for your school.
And also Stanford wise enough to know that this is a good team because they're familiar with Gonzaga.
Loddick pulled down by McGrain. 1 second differential between the shot clock and game clock.
Stanford is living and dying by the three-point and outside shot, Tim. Early they were going. They got a big lead. They have not gone since, and as a result, San Diego right back in the game.
Well, Keith really wants the ball, and they're not triggering the pass into him.
Well, Kirchhoff doing a good job being physical with Keith.
There's Blair on the pop out. Generally, he attracts attention. Dalzell. Keith will be called for the push.
Well, that's a frustration foul on the part of Jason Keep. He wanted the basketball and tried to get it on an offensive foul. Brad Holland counseling his point guard. Dalzell is the guy who he says turned this team around. And even though he's not a point guard, he's serving that function. Keep and Jason Blair get all the pub, but Dalzell is the guy, he's the glue kind of player.
Belzer leaves, and Smith comes in for Belzer. San Diego on quite a run to close out this half. Barnes at the buzzer. And the Toreros much like their bullfighter moniker. Down by 19 at one point, roll back into this game. They were down 29-10, trail now by only 3, ending the half on a 22-6 run over the last 9 minutes. Let's go to Leslie. Leslie. Coming up, halftime activities with Singular at the half. Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg in our New York studios. Stay tuned.
Singular at the half. Singular's wireless polling allows you